Welcome to Biblical Manhood Ministry. Continuing on in the episodes of the Deadly Seven Sins, this video is about lust. So I'm going to start with a definition, and then Alex is going to continue on. Lust means to have an intense desire for something. Sexually speaking, lust can also be defined as strong sexual desire. In reference to the Bible, sexual lust is willfully allowing wrongfully directed desire to take place. For example, masturbation, polygamy, fornication, adultery. Whereas rightfully directed lust would be, for example, to your spouse. You desire them, you crave them intimately. Okay? So 1 John 2:15-17 says, "Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the flesh and the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of God abideth forever." So lust isn't just in reference to intimacy between a man and a woman. You can lust after things, you can crave after power. So even though lust is most commonly known for sexual desire in the wrong way. So yeah, that's the definition. Alex?
So when it comes to lust, I have a few verses that I want to go over. So we have Proverbs 6:25. So God instructs us, "Lust not after her beauty in thine heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids." Then we have 2 Timothy 22. "Flee also youthful lust, but follow righteousness, faith, charity, peace with them that call on the Lord out of a pure heart." Fear of God will cause you to flee from sexual sin instead of flirting with sexual sin. We see a lot of guys, and they're like, "Oh, can I do this with her? Can I do that?" They're like flirting. They're like edging with God's laws. But you're looking at the wrong aspect of what God has for you. As we see in Proverbs 16:6. "By mercy and truth iniquity is purged, and by the fear of the Lord men depart from evil." So you need to have a reverence and fear of the Lord, because when you get tempted with these things, it's easy to flee from it. What we see today is guys practice nofap. We see this movement of nofap, no masturbation, whatever it is. But you have to ask yourself, why are they doing these things? It's for self-righteousness. They're doing these things because they're going to get more women attraction, so they can sleep around more, so they have this power over women. They do it for other reasons, like have more drive and energy to do lustful things, to satisfy their other aspects of their life. Their mindset is just put wrong. They idolize these things. What is idolatry? Idolatry is creating a god in their own image in their mind and worshiping that god rather than submitting to the god that's already there. I've talked to a lot of prideful individuals that, they're into philosophy and things like that. And when you talk about lust and all these things, they're like, "Oh, it's fine to sleep around. It's fine. It's like love. It's like everyone does it because of the hormones and things like that." But like it is said, I don't know if you have the verse, "He that commits fornication destroyed his body." So fornication is the only type of sin that which you commit that you actually damage your own body. Another thing I want to cover is the soul ties. Do you have anything written about that? Because you see a lot of guys talking about, "Oh, if you sleep around, you get soul ties." That's not biblical. That's kind of new age.
Yeah, Genesis 2:24 just speaks about one flesh. So you have to understand, when you're single, your body belongs to God. But when you're married, your body doesn't just belong to God, but it belongs to your spouse and vice versa. This is why it says you become one flesh. So you should honor your body and not resort to self-pleasure. If not, you will become selfish and you will seek out intimacy for self-righteous reasons. This is why you see guys, they're lustful and they're like, oh, I just want a woman. But do you actually want to please her? Do you actually want to love her? Do you want to build a life with her? Or do you just want to use her as glorified masturbation? And that's the thing that you have to understand. So when it comes to curing lust, as Alex said to Timothy 2, verse 22, you have to flee youthful lusts, but follow righteousness. Okay, faith, charity, peace. So there's really three things that you can do that are going to help you overcome your lust, because it's going to be a battle, right? But it's through discipline. So retaining your seed as a man goes without saying. Now, unlike these guys that Alex talks about, where they retain their seed, they do no fap, but it's for self-righteousness. Until they meet a girl, they're not going to commit to, and they just go right back to square one. Whereas, are you doing this for God? Are you doing it for your future family, or is it just for yourself? Because when you keep releasing your seed, or you keep self-pleasuring, it conditions you to believe and focus on your own sexual needs. So if you keep doing that, you're conditioned, and then you get into a marriage, you're just there to meet your own needs. You don't know how to give, you only know how to take. So that's why you have to understand, you have to honor your body and get right with God. So 1 Corinthians 6:20 says, for ye are bought with a price. Therefore glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's. There's no such thing as an individual. You belong to God. And would you want to be with a woman who's constantly self-pleasuring herself? You're just an extension of that self-pleasure. You're not her source of pleasure. You'd feel weird, wouldn't you? That's why it says you are one flesh. Your body's joined, not the soul, because we're three parts: body, soul, and spirit. Spirit is the Holy Spirit from God. Soul is who we are. Our flesh, our body is just the vehicle that we're using while we're here on this earth. But your bodies are what join together. So you do intertwine, you do become very connected, but it's to do flesh. That is actually how you culminate in marriage. That's why it says in Genesis 2:24, for this reason a man grows old, leaves his mother and father, cleaves to his wife, and becomes one flesh. To cleave is to join in body, in intimacy, in sex. And that's how it's done. It's attempted procreation. Once you do that, now you're one together. You belong to one another, not just to God. And if you keep giving your body out to 5, 10, 15, 20 people, who do you belong to then? So the next thing is going to be, you have to avoid lust through your eyes. So I would recommend avoid any type of lustful material, whether you see things on movies, on TV shows, pornography, anything like that in entertainment that promotes sensuality, fornication. Because sexual purity begins when you're single, not when you're married, not when you're committed. It starts when you're alone, you're in your walk with God. And if you say you're faithful because, oh, I'm loyal, if I'm committed, I'm not going to do anything to my girl. What about when you're single? Are you even faithful to yourself? Are you even faithful to God? Or are you just going to just desecrate your body and give it to anyone and give access? That doesn't sound very loyal to me. So how would you feel if you knew that your future wife right now, she's out there lusting after different men? She's hooking up with them, she's touching them, she's forming bonds with them and breaking bonds with them. Or would you rather have a wife who's smart enough to just walk on her own with God till she finds you? You got to do the same if you want to require that, or else you're just not worthy. So when you become addicted by consuming pornographic content, not only does it damage your brain, your dopamine receptors and all the rest, it desensitizes you to intimacy and loyalty. And then, as Alex mentioned before, you start flirting with the idea of all these things. Well, I guess I can commit adultery. I guess because now you see a woman from a superficial level, it breaks the bond you have with her. This is why a lot of guys today, they don't want a relationship. They don't want marriage. They're afraid when they develop emotions for a woman because they don't know how to deal with that. No one's prepared or educated them on how they should channel that properly. All they've been taught is sleep around, hook up, watch porn, and jerk off all day. Now they have a woman, they're like, this is another person with feelings. They have hobbies. She has interests. She's got a heart. But now you close yourself off because you've been so self-righteous for so long. And this is why a lot of guys actually run when they have a good woman, because they simply don't know. And instead of opening up and learning and going through with it, they turn the other way. And that's what porn does. The lust kills love, and you reap what you sow, and it's very dangerous. So you want to avoid lusting through the eyes, because the moment you take one step forward, you're stuck in that quicksand, and then you need to pull yourself out. So avoid entirely, which is why Matthew 5:28 says, "But I say unto you that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart." You don't know if she has a husband. You don't know if she's engaged, she has a boyfriend. But she most definitely will be in the future. So if she doesn't belong to you, and she doesn't belong to any other man, she belongs to God. So you really should be doing that. That's how important it is. And then, of course, finally, you have to be chaste. What is chastity? If you look up the definition of being chaste, it means abstaining from extramarital or from all sexual intercourse, to be celibate, to be intact, to be pure. You see a lot of guys talk about, oh, I want a girl that's not been ran through, she hasn't been with multiple guys, but how many women have you been with? You know, that's what it comes down to. You damage yourself too in the process, because a promiscuous lifestyle leads you to interact and attract women who engage in such a lifestyle too. Casual sex, one night stands. It is impossible for you to find and keep a godly woman in your life and bond with her long term. Would you marry a woman who slept with 10, 20, 50 men? Sex is for marriage between husband and wife, and it's the only righteous reason and way by which you should bond. And God knows this. That's why he wants it to be founded on his love. It's you, God, and the woman. So sex is a sacred gift that you should only receive within intimacy. It's to share your life with someone. It's not just for a stranger. So chastity is key to abstaining from your lust. Because when you get good at just saying no, you'll be okay. Because if you're wise like Solomon or David, but you don't have self-control like Jacob did when he ran, he fled, you'll be destroyed just like Samson was. So self-control is one of the fruits of the spirit in Galatians 5:22. So you have to understand just how important it is. It goes beyond what you put in your body, refraining from anger or bad emotions or making decisions when you're emotional. It comes back to sexual desire as well. Your ego, your pride plays a role in that too. You have to be chaste. And it is nowadays it's a superpower. And when you actually abstain and you see that it's not all about sex, because guys think, oh, to get to know a woman, I need to sleep with her. No, you don't. You need to court her. You need to sit there, date her, ask questions, get to know who she is in here. That will come later once you have a bond. And that, because God knows that's just the way it's structured. You can't jump the gun, start with intimacy, and then get to know someone 6 months later. Imagine a company, a high-end company, they're very selective with the people they choose. They make one exception for you. Look at your name, look at your surname. Come on, you got a high-paying job. 6 months in, you're working. They call you up and say, now we're going to give you a background check. We went through your files and you don't have any paperwork that shows us that you're actually prepared to work here. You don't have the necessary skills. And you will turn around and say, yeah, but I've been here for 6 months though. Yeah, but why are you there? Are you really adding value, or are you just there because it's comfortable and it's going to make you look better? They're going to kick you out because you're only strong as your weakest link, and they can't have that. That's why you look at high-end military groups, SAS, Navy SEALs, whatever. The specification in the training is tougher than normal basic army. Can you imagine it out of 10 members, one of them is obese? How does that make the whole team look? You can be a godly, righteous man, but if you marry, for example, a promiscuous woman, I'm going to question your intent as a man. Why? Who are you really? Why would you do that? It will taint your whole family. That's why God wants men and women to be pure, because he knows the damage and how deep it goes. So 1 Corinthians 6:18, flee fornication. Every sin that a man doeth is without the body, but he that committeth fornication sinneth against his own body. That's why it's so important. And if you just simplify it, you focus on those three things: chastity, not lusting through your eyes, and abstaining from self-pleasure, and you keep repeating that, you become better at it, do discipline, practice, you have self-control. and you'll be okay.
100%. And you always have to ask yourself the question of, why would God curse a righteous woman with you? I always like asking that, because guys are brainwashed out here, thinking they can fall for their lusts while they're not with their wife. Do you think once you become married, all these temptations are going to go away? No, you're going to be still struggling with those lusts when you're married with her. So you need to be pure now and get deliverance, whatever, get delivered from it. And then, and God will send temptations. God
To
will
test
send,
you.
yeah, He will test you to see who you truly are. He will send lustful women your way.
Exactly. He will send you a woman that doesn't want to marry you. She doesn't want to have a family with you, but she wants to sleep with you. And she's very beautiful. What are you going to do then? If you can't say no to that, you can't say no to anything as a man. For most guys, their kryptonite is a beautiful woman. And you can choose Proverbs 5 girl, you can choose a Proverbs 31 woman. Very, very different contrast. But it's a reflection of the quality of man you are.
Yeah.
Because God could be 3 weeks away from you meeting your future wife. And because he knows you're dealing with certain things that are going to damage her, he will divert that course. You're not ready yet. And he will protect it from you. If you right now you think, man, I'm doing everything to meet a girl. I'm going out, I'm trying to meet women, and you haven't found that woman yet, then there's something within you that's not right with God. There's either a knowledge gap, there's either lust, or there's low self-esteem that needs to be corrected, fixed, or filled up before you're ready. Because you have to ask yourself, if you're doing all of that and you still haven't found a good woman and you're looking for those things, there's probably a reason why. God's denials, God's delays aren't God's denials. His will is right on time. But the sooner you prepare and pursue righteousness, the sooner he will deliver.
What was I going to say? I forgot.
Nice. Brain fog.
Noise. Yeah, when it comes to lust, it can really destroy you, especially because you can use your energy. You as a man have your energy, right? You can either use that energy to be driven, motivated, build the kingdom of God, work on your business, whatever it is. Or you can use that energy on your lusts, which can destroy you. Lust can really destroy an individual. And where do you think homosexuality and all these things come from? Because women don't satisfy that lust no more. And it's just a stairway down of more and more intensity. You have to be
And you
careful.
have to understand as well, you have to get to the point where God is enough. Not more, not less, enough. And just seeking him alone, that becomes a need for you. Because a lot of people, they don't need God. They want God when it suits them, when their life is crumbling. How often do you sit there and praise God when you hit a milestone in your business, in your health, in your career? How often do you show gratitude when you meet good people, good friends, or you meet a good woman? Did you sit there and thank God? You got to ask yourself, why is that? But then when you're sick, you got problems, you're fearful, then you get atheists on their knees. God, God, help me. Do you think that's not disgusting? How would you feel if you have a friend and all of a sudden he disappears, he pulls away when he meets a girl? And we've all seen guys do that. They meet a girl, they dip, and then they come back 6 months later and they want to spend time with you. Oh, now you want to include me in your life. How would you feel? It's disrespectful, right? That's exactly what you're doing to God. You should need him every second of the day. And like he knows when you're not ready. He knows if there's something that he can prepare you for or improve you in a certain specific skill or something that will help admonish you for that role. And then you have to do it on his time. You can try and do it your own way. And then what will happen? You will sin, you'll be with the wrong person and you'll be right back at square one. And that's how you get humbled. But
Yeah.
prevention is better than cure, and it's not necessary to cause yourself unnecessary suffering. You look at our society, lust is on overdrive. Movies, TV shows, music, in the entertainment industry, school system, everything is really damaging these kids, these young men and women. This was unheard of 100 years ago. If you showed someone from the 1900s, I'm talking like 1905, for example, or what year are we, 2022? So if you showed someone from 1922, today's society, they'd probably die of a heart attack instantly. No exception. And if you went back even further, they would lose the plot.
Do you ever see these videos of the cartoons you used to watch and how lustful, perverted they are? Why did you not notice it when you were a little kid? Because you weren't lustful, you were pure at heart. It didn't affect you, but now because you're super lustful, you see these things. Because your RAS, your reticular activated system, is changed. And what I wanted to say is you're the product of the 5 people you hang with. In Proverbs 13:20, it says, He that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. What I'm trying to say is, let's say Christian and I and other Christians, we get in a group. We congratulate each other who has the lowest body count, right? But in other groups, you get praised for who has the highest body count. Oh, I banged this girl, I done this with her the other week, and I'm doing this. If you're hanging around in that environment, you need to question who you're chilling with. And you need to have serious discernment, because you'll understand, like, these things, like, you'll see if they continue that promiscuous life in 10, 20 years, they're going to be destroyed. They're not going to have families. They're going to be addicted to drugs, things like that, because that's where it leads. It's just a pathway. Sin leads to more sin.
Corinthians 15:33, bad company corrupts good morals, which is why I like to say, because in the Bible, it's statements from God's words that are so simple to understand that you can apply that to any situation. So if bad company corrupts good morals, that would mean that good company can sharpen and uphold good morals. On the contrast, that's so important. And you don't understand the value of it until you're in it, until you're there, until you're with those people. And playing with lust is extremely dangerous. This is why there is a generation of single parents. I mean, this was unheard of 50, 100 years ago. Of course, there's always been sinful men and women. They've gotten together for the wrong reasons. They're immature. They had no one to educate them. But what we see now is completely out of control. This is like there's men out there lustful, and they're leaving a string behind of broken families. There's women doing the same thing, breaking families. And then you get kids that grow up and that's all they see in their environment, in their upbringing. My family's messed up. They look at their friends. Everybody they know is a messed up family. So it's normal that these kids grow up and think, what's the point of being married? What's the point of having a family? No one taught me this is bad. Screw it, I'm not gonna have kids. And then they become selfish, very me. Then they get into sin, into lust. They start getting curious. Well, I guess I can sleep around once or twice. I guess I'll hook up since I'm never gonna get married. And then when they come out of that dark state, their negativity, and they realize this was wrong. These were just people that were immoral that didn't know. And they educate. Now they've got a whole string of problems that come with them. And that it does destroy you. There's always testimonials you see online of like girls that worked in that industry, the sex industry, and they always say later how they regret it. Like good men just do not even take them seriously. Like they don't even want to look at them. That's soul destroying. Their own parents, their family, no one wants to be part of them. But as a man, you think, well, it's different if I'm a guy. No, it's the same thing if you're a guy, because your kids will see like, dad's lustful, dad's broken this family. Nobody wants that. And that's why respect is truly earned. It really can't be given out for free. And in the book in Bible in Titus 2 verses 6 through 8, it says at the end that you should carry yourself in such a way, be so sober, be so grave, be so honorable that if anybody points a finger at you, there's nothing bad of them to say about you. It makes them look bad, you know? And that's really the way you should carry yourself as a man. But it starts when you're young. And lust now has become a complete poison for men because guys have no direction. I mean, how many young guys could genuinely say, yeah, I want to be a dad or a husband? Very few. You usually hear more women say because they're more feminine, they're more in tune. But even they get that crushed by feminism, by hanging around bad women. And the second a man becomes lustful and he becomes addicted to pornography, lust, or anything of that nature that's wrongfully directed sexual desire, he does not think about family. He does not think about marriage. And those are the guys that are very dangerous. And guys think it's all fun and games when they do it, but it's like, what if you had a daughter or a sister? Would you like some guy like that to come in and do that to her? Of course not. So if you're not cool with that, why are you doing it? It's really that simple. And if you don't want to admit that, you're just prideful. But God always offers a way out. Sometimes when you're so deep into sin, your friends, your family, everybody will reject you because you've done them harm. They may forgive you, but they may not trust you again. You at least have a relationship with God, which is ultimately what matters. So depending how deep you've gone, some people will cut you off forever, but you've still got your ticket to heaven, and I'm sure everybody will talk and make amends up top. But that's really the price you pay because you reap what you sow. God will not be mocked. You can go around now in your 20s using women, having all that fun. But when you get into your 30s and now you're ready to settle down, what good woman is going to want you? You have to realistically ask yourself that. Unless you lie to a woman, which she's probably going to see through anyway because she's intuitive, that's going to be what you have, or you're going to settle. Or the third option is you have to stay single, as you've sown. You can't undo that. You can move forward, but with the regret. And you have to carry that on your back until the day you die. To me, that lifestyle is it's not worth it. I wouldn't recommend that to anyone. I've seen guys live that way and I've had to cut them off. And where are they now? They're doing drugs. They're addicted to alcohol. They have all these other addictions. They've got all these mental problems too, which come from that lifestyle. Right? Lust is not worth it.
It is not.
That's my 2 cents for today.
Yeah. Same on my side. And the opposite of lust is chastity. So you need to practice pureness, being chaste, abstaining from sexual immorality, and
And
staying strong.
how you can sharpen that is anytime you have an opportunity that comes your way to do so, by simply saying no and refraining, you become stronger. When you can say no to a girl, or you know where it's heading and you just say no and you turn and you leave, there you go. It's by doing. That's all it takes. So yeah,
Exactly.
that's all I have to say on that. And that's lust. There's a little lesson for everybody on lust, and you need to take this very seriously, because with lust you're joining yourself with another person, and because lust is focused on itself, and you forget that. You forget you're engaging intimately with someone that you could potentially create a child with. That's not a game. And if no one's told you before, then you've heard it here for the first time. So take it very seriously.
This has been Alex and Christian. We're going to leave a link down below for the Discord, free Discord, which you can join. We're going to leave our own channels down below. Christian does relationships. I do more testosterone optimization, health aspect. So yeah, peace.